Broadcasting from USA Swimming's headquarters at the Carolyn Dirks Building in Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's time for Kickset. Join three-time Olympian Elizabeth Beisel and U.S. National Team Director of Performance Matt Barbini as they host members from the USA Swimming community, ranging from age group to Olympic levels of the sport.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Kickset podcast. My name is Matt Barbini. Joining me, as always, three-time Olympian Elizabeth Beisel. Beisel, welcome to 2024. How are you?
I know. It's been a minute,
Yeah,
Barbini. How are
I
your
know.
holidays? How was Knoxville? How was everything?
Yeah, holidays were good. We have a 4-year-old, so this is about the most fun window for Christmas. So we watched the Grinch probably 275 times in the last month since I've talked to you. And yeah, Knoxville. I mean, won't talk too much about Knoxville in the intro here because we're going to talk a lot about the kind of the standout performance from that in a moment. But you know how the January meet goes. It's always people are coming off pretty hard training. Some are kind of ready to go, and some are just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm in a meet right now after 3 weeks of brutal training." So definitely a mixed bag. But you were in Canada.
I was in Canada. I've been like on the road the past few weeks. I've been on a little snowboarding bender. Perks of being a retired athlete. I can now do sports that I couldn't do when I was swimming. Canada was very cold, as most of you probably could imagine.
No kidding.
But a great time. Highly recommend going to Mont Tremblant. If those listening haven't been yet, check it out. But yeah, I'm like very excited for our next guest because this year, with it being 2024 and just how they have really solidified themselves as one of the most versatile swimmers in the entire world, it's really special to be able to steal their time for just a little bit. So I'll let you embarrass.
Yeah. So our guest today is Kate Douglas. She is, of course, an Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo, but that was kind of just if you could call an Olympic medal a launching point, that was kind of just the launching point for where she is now. She's been on our national team 4 times, currently holds 5 American records across long course, short course, and short course yards. And of course, what I was alluding to earlier, she just set the 200 breast American record at the Tier Pro Swim in Knoxville with a 2:19:30. That record had stood for almost 12 years. It was Rebecca Soni's record from the 2012 Olympics, which was like 6 months after I started this job. So we're going back a ways into the Wayback Machine for that one. So pretty incredible swim. But let's bring her in. Kate, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here.
All right. So, I mean, I'm not going to bounce around too much on the start here. Let's talk about the AR in Knoxville. And the question that I had kind of watching it was, did you expect that?
Yeah, definitely not. I was pretty shocked when I saw the time and saw that it was an American record. A 2:19, that's something that I've kind of discussed with Todd as being a goal. But kind of in the back of my mind, I don't really know if that is something I can achieve, just because I feel like I've been stuck at a 2:21 for a long time. I feel like the past 2 years, like every time I've gone to a big meet, I've just gone to 2:21 and it's like, that's great. But I was kind of like, I don't know if I like how much more I have in me. But also I think because of that, I definitely think I was ready for a time drop in that race. And I didn't think it would be in January at a Tier Pro Series meet, but yeah, I think just after US Open, I went into 2:21 there, and I definitely think I was just way more prepared going into Knoxville, so I wasn't shocked to see a best time, but an American record was definitely more than I thought I would do.
Pretty iconic too, with it being Rebecca Soni's American record. Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't know that it was so old, that the record was from so long ago. So that's also like super cool to see that and learn that. Yeah, just pretty amazing.
You said that you were a little bit more prepared in Knoxville versus US Open. I'm assuming you were coming off of Christmas training. So can you kind of elaborate on that preparation and how you were able to drop 2 seconds within like a month?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely had like a solid few months of training in the fall, and We did a lot of like time trials at UVA, and I kind of just raced in practice, and I was going some pretty fast times. So I was excited for US Open, but I definitely think the few weeks leading into US Open, my training was kind of all over the place because I was traveling a lot. And so earlier in the fall, I had seen what, some solid training did for my performance. But then, yeah, leading into US Open, I wouldn't really call it, solid, consistent training. It was just kind of all over the place. So I was still able to perform, pretty well at US Open, just because of, I think, the training I had done back in September and October preparing me for that. But then, yeah, kind of after US Open, I was just kind of like, I'm gonna, try to stay in one place for a while, not miss too much practice, and just get some good, consistent training in. And then I knew that if I did that, I would probably be better than I was at US Open. And so, yeah, I just kind of had some really good, consistent few weeks of training at Virginia leading up to that.
So during the race, I mean, you were well ahead of the field. Did it feel like you were like, man, I'm flying? Or did it feel like it was going to be a best time? Like how did it feel while you were in the water?
Yeah, I was also really shocked when people told me what I went out in, which was like a 107.0, I think. Because yeah, when I was doing the race, I took the same amount of strokes that I usually do. Like I kind of just stuck to the same plan as usual. I definitely like tried to push it a little bit more the second 50 than I usually do, because that's kind of what I've been working on. I knew that I had to kind of push that second 50 to be able to get the third 50 and fourth 50 faster than what I usually do. But it was the same number of strokes that I usually take, so I didn't feel like I was really like pushing it a lot more than usual. But I definitely saw that I was way ahead of the field even after the 100, and I was a little confused. I was like, I guess I'm going really fast. It felt like altogether it felt really good. And I felt like I was able to execute it the way that I wanted to, which was kind of pushing that second and third 50.
Yeah, Barbini, I'm gonna jump around. I know we kind of have an outline that we're following, but Kate, you said you're taking the same amount of strokes, but obviously fastest you've ever swum.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the data that you've been working on at UVA, do you think all the things that you've been working out with data analysis with Dr. Ono and Todd, how much of a role does that play into you keeping same stroke count, but then dropping 2 seconds?
Yeah, I think that definitely, the stuff that we do plays a little bit into that. And something I've been working on a lot in practice, is kind of getting the most out of each stroke and making each stroke as efficient as possible, and definitely looking at the data analysis and things, inefficiencies in my stroke are ways to do that. And yeah, I think just really focusing on getting as far as I can with each stroke is something I've been doing. And yeah, obviously Knoxville shows that the training that we've been doing for that has been working.
Yes, it did. It definitely indicates that.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to jump to Doha. So this is kind of an interesting time for World Championships.
Yeah.
So kind of what's your mindset and your plan heading into this competition in just a couple weeks?
Yeah, I definitely knew I was gonna kind of accept this opportunity. I feel like, yeah, a lot of people declined it, and it's an awkward time for a big meet. But I don't know. I think, in past years, I've kind of done a big meet around this time because of the college season. And I think it's great to have an opportunity to race. And since there's not as many people going, that allowed me the opportunity to maybe swim some other events that I wouldn't usually make at a meet like this. So I'm entered into a lot of events. I don't know if I'm going to do them all because that would be really exhausting, but I'm definitely excited just for the opportunity to get up and race a lot.
So yeah, on that though, just so the people listening understand how many events you actually are entered in. So it's the 50 and 100 free, the 100 and 200 breast, the 200 IM, and the 50 fly. Did I get them all, or did I miss one?
Yeah, I think I'm in the 100 breast also, but
yeah,
I think that might be a scratch. I'm gonna decide soon on what I'm scratching, but I might scratch like one or two. Cause yeah, I was looking at the lineup, and there was one night where I'd possibly have 3 swims, and I was like, I don't know if that sounds enjoyable. But Could be good practice, I guess.
Consistent training for sure, at least at the very least. The team that is being sent to Doha is super young.
Yeah.
And I want to know what your first international experience was like, and if you had any advice to those young swimmers that you're going to be in Doha with, because now you're kind of like solidifying yourself as a veteran. You've been around the block, you know what's up.
I know it's weird to think that I'm like kind of one of the old ones now because I don't feel that way.
Well,
But
you're not old. That's the thing.
that's the
It's just
thing.
your
That's the thing.
experience.
I'm not, but I kind of am. But yeah, no, my first like big international experience was really the Olympics. So that was obviously like, you know, a high pressure, scary meet. But I just remember how great all of the older swimmers were, all the vets were then to kind of just welcoming me and the younger kids in and kind of just showing us how everything goes and just, yeah, being great like role models for us. And so that's kind of what, you know, I want to do now that people are looking up to me for advice, for a role model. I'm just excited to kind of be a leader and help, yeah, show the younger kids, you know, how it's done, and help them along.
Yeah, this is a unique opportunity too. Because the team is so small, there's probably more opportunity to do that. Like normally when we take a
Yeah.
full size team, it's 52 athletes and it's just kind of chaos as everybody's sort of moving different directions. And there's not as much time for that. This is a full length meet where you actually will have the opportunity to kind of like hang out with these guys and kind of impart some of that wisdom you've gained now.
It'll definitely be a cool opportunity for all the younger kids who, you know, wouldn't get this opportunity in most years. So it'll be cool for them to just have a smaller group.
Yeah. With this year being a post-grad year for you, what are the biggest differences between you swimming on the college team and now training post-grad? And are there like pros, cons? Like, what's your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like that different. It kind of is. I'm kind of doing the same thing that I was in previous years. Like I'm training on the same schedule as everyone else, but just not going to the meets with everyone. And I would say I do enjoy that part. I mean, I loved my 4 years as an undergrad on the college team, but I definitely was ready to kind of just be more independent and more focused on just my own swimming. And so I have kind of liked that just just kind of focusing more on, you know, my goals for this year and just being more of an independent swimmer on the team. But it's definitely nice that I get to kind of stick with the same schedule and the same training partners that I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of funny in Knoxville because of you guys had the college team had the dual meet against Virginia Tech.
Mhm.
All of your teammates and Todd missed the American record. They weren't there, right?
Yeah.
So that was funny. What was their reaction like? Was your phone just blown up when you dried off?
Yeah. Yeah, I did have there were three other girls who missed the dual meet and they were there, but yeah, Todd was definitely upset that he wasn't there. It was funny, Todd and my mom was at the meet for some of the sessions, but of course she left that afternoon before that race. I think she and Todd were texting and he was like, well, at least you got to see it. And she was like, no, actually I didn't. So they were definitely both upset that they missed that race. But yeah, I think it was definitely exciting for him to be able to watch that. But yeah, no, I definitely had a lot of texts from my teammates and stuff, which was fun, knowing that everyone was excited for me.
Yeah, everybody cheering for you. And I love like when you get out of a race and you have all those messages, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is like awesome.
Yeah.
The excitement level heading into trials, it's gonna be in an NFL stadium. Can you talk a little bit about how pumped you are for that? And maybe a dive into the feelings that you have with it being an Olympic year and heading into Olympic trials, feelings of nerves, whatever it is that you have.
Yeah. I mean, this year, it's just, yeah, this year's definitely different than the last Olympic trials where I feel like I was kind of going into it, like not really thinking about making the team because I didn't really think I had much of a shot. And then when I did kind of realize I had a shot, I remember the nerves just kind of like totally like consuming me. And it was just like a horrible feeling. I was so stressed out. Like it was just so scary. But I feel like this year I definitely like have had experience, you know, being under that pressure at meets now. And so I feel like I'll kind of be able to get past those nerves and not be as stressed out during the meet, which I think is going to be a good thing. And yeah, it's just kind of nice being able to have just kind of have trials be my focus this whole year. And I feel like by the time I get there, I'm just going to be ready to race and excited to race. And yeah, I think I'm just really looking forward to kind of resting a little bit and just seeing what I can do there.
So if one of these youngsters on the Doha team were to ask you, like, what's it like to swim at Olympic trials, and like, what advice do you have for me? I'm going into my first trials. What would you tell them?
Oh, I would say just try not to get too in your head before your race. Honestly, just kind of I feel like focusing on your own race strategy and just being confident that you know how to do that race and don't think too much about it. Because I feel like that's always something that I get really stressed out at these meets, especially if it's kind of your first big one. Is just to kind of live in the moment and just like try to be calm before that race.
I think that's incredible advice because I feel like you've lived it. You know, you alluded to being extremely stressed at
Yeah.
Olympic trials in 2021. I'm assuming you felt that before the Turner IM and other races as well, but especially the Turner IM. So I want to know, like, how do you flip that switch before a race where you are likely or trying to make an Olympic team? Because I feel like that's what separates like the good from the great is being able to transfer that nervous energy into something good. So is that what you're telling yourself? Like, just focus on the moment? Like, I would love to know.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of just try to really push like every single thought out of my mind except for like what I'm about to do. And I kind of just focus on like I literally get behind the block and I'm like, okay, fly back breast free. That's all we're doing right now, 4 laps. And I kind of tell myself, like, I'm just like, you do this in practice all the time. Like, you know how to do this race. Like, you know how to do it. That's kind of what I tell myself so I don't get too scared about what the outcome is. I just like tell myself that I know how to do it. And I find that that definitely helps kind of just take everything else out of my mind.
So you're outside of the pool, you're working on your master's in statistics. Is it helpful in a year that can be kind of all consuming and a little bit pressure filled to have something else aside from swimming that you're working on?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's kind of why I decided to get my master's was to just have something else outside of the pool so that I wasn't just focused on my swimming. So I feel like otherwise then I can kind of get more in my head just about practice and having, making sure everything's perfect swimming wise. But when I have something else going on, it kind of, yeah, it's nice to have a little distraction and take my mind off of swimming when I'm not at the pool. And yeah, I've definitely enjoyed that. It was a little scary before this semester started because for the last 4 weeks, we've been kind of just like, swimming, sleeping, eating, and going back to swim practice. And I was like, damn, I don't really want to start school again. But now that we've kind of, we started like a week and a half ago. So now that we've kind of gone back into it a little bit, I'm happy that I decided to keep doing it because it's nice to kind of be productive and find something else, that I'm interested in to fill my time.
Yeah. You kind of remind me of Maya Dorado in a little bit, and that she kind of had that data analytics type mind and like always had something on the side, which I think helped allow her to have such an amazing like end to her swimming career as a postgrad.
Yeah.
For you, you have school, you have swimming. Are there any other things outside of those two things that you do to kind of help have balance or help keep your mind off swimming and school, which are like two of the main ingredients on your plate?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's really not much time for a lot else,
That's
but
also true. I'm like, so
you
what else
know,
do you do during your day?
it's definitely nice I still have like a whole group of girls here that I'm close with, and it's nice that when we all find time to go do something like go out to eat or just drive around, those are definitely things that are nice to do that kind of take our mind off of everything else going on.
Yeah.
Should we jump into some social kick, Basil?
Let's do some social kick. I love
All
social
right.
kick.
So, Kate, social kick is a series of questions that come from people through social channels. So we post that you're going to be on the podcast, and then they send questions in. This group is kind of all over the place. So they're You can answer these as quickly or as
right.
long as you would like. The first one is from Ellie M. How do you deal with bad training days or bad training weeks?
That is a good question because I've definitely had my fair share of bad training days. I feel like that's something I've gotten better at throughout my career, and I'm still not perfect at dealing with those days, but I think it's good to know that it's okay to not handle them well. Because that's definitely been like a focus of mine, is trying to figure out kind of just how to get past those bad training days, so that I don't let them, affect my next practice. But really something that I try to focus on when I'm having like a really bad practice or I'm just going slow is just knowing that if I'm giving a full effort, if I'm doing the set correctly, even if it's not the results that I want, I'm still getting something out of it and it's still important to do. So kind of just knowing that even on your bad weeks and your bad days, you're still getting something out of it and it's not a waste of your time.
You've been training with the UVA team now. This is your 5th year. So are there types of sets that you could look at the practice beforehand and be like, oh man, I know this is a tough one for me, or ones that you like kind of dread year after year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone loves a 50 free practice, like 100, power practice, because it's a lot of 25s and power work, which isn't easy, but it's easier mentally. I feel like for a lot of us to kind of just get through that rather than, sometimes when we have a set where it's like just a bunch of like 200s and aerobic stuff, it's just like, oh man, I don't want to have to do this. Like that just sucks. So I feel like whenever it's something that's working on like aerobic or threshold, that's something that I'm not super excited about. And we have this one practice a week that's like our 200 free practice, where it's just a lot of like aerobic swimming and then a bunch of 50s fast, and it's really hard. And I definitely am, kind of like groaning before I have to get in the water to do that one. But I know that since it's the hardest practice of the week, it's probably the most important. And, I feel like that helps me get through it.
Great. Okay, so this next one is from Caitlin S. I'm gonna change her question slightly because we kind of covered it a little bit. So her question was, what hobbies do you have outside of swimming? Obviously, there's not a ton of time for a lot of those things. So either what hobbies did you have kind of as you were growing up swimming, or what hobbies do you look forward to having when you have more time, after your swimming career?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say a hobby that like a few of us here at Virginia have is baking in our free time. Like I like to bake chocolate chip cookies a lot. And like Alex bakes like banana bread, I feel like at least like twice a week, like all the time. And so I feel like that's something that's like kind of just like when you're stressed out, it's just kind of like calming to just be like, just like bake something. And then obviously it's nice to eat a dessert. But yeah, baking is definitely something I like to fill my free time with.
Who's the best baker on the team?
Um, I don't think I would say I'm the best baker since I literally just bake chocolate chip cookies and like brownies from like a box mix. Obviously they still taste good, but um, I don't know. I mean, Alex bakes banana bread a lot. So she's pretty good at that, but I don't know. We have a few girls who are pretty decent at baking.
Kate, do you cook your meals too after practice?
Yeah, I've started cooking more this year. I'm still not great, but I'm getting better at it. Because yeah, now that I'm no longer an athlete at UVA, I don't have the dining hall. So yeah, I've started cooking pretty much all my meals this year and I've enjoyed it. I feel like it's kind of nice to kind of spend time making my own food, and I feel like yeah, it tastes better that way. And yeah, no, I'm not the best at cooking, but we're getting better.
But your
What you
But I'm
cooking?
cookies are good.
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
not a lot of exciting things. I would say a lot of us here we make this like we usually just have like frozen salmon and cook that and then put it in like rice and like add avocado and that's like a little salmon bowl. And a lot of us make that because it's pretty easy. So I probably make that a few times a week.
salmon, banana bread, and chocolate chip cookies. It's the
Yeah.
the key to
Feeding-
UVA
feeding
success.
champions.
Yeah.
It literally sounds like my post-grad life. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody.
I think it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So from Andrea C, goldfish or Cheez-Its?
Oh, I feel like Cheez-Its.
Mm.
I would definitely choose Cheez-Its over goldfish.
All right.
Barbie,
back-
what would you choose?
Yeah, what about you guys?
So,
Yeah.
all right. So for me, goldfish was like my favorite snack when I was a little kid. So
Yeah.
I probably like nostalgically would still go goldfish, but those extra like burnt Cheez-Its, have you ever had those? Those
Yeah.
are like amazing. So
Yeah.
I can't
I
turn
think
those
there's more
down.
flavor in Cheez-Its. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
More
I think if it were flavor blasted goldfish versus
Mhm.
Cheez-Its, it would be a little bit more even. But if it's
I
just
agree.
normal goldfish, I'm going Cheez-Its.
All right. This is a very pro Cheez-Its
I know.
podcast right now.
Really
Okay,
important
back
stuff
to
here.
this is what
This
the
is it.
people tuned in for. Yep. All right, back to a swimming question. Jonathan T. How do you hold your pace on a 200 breaststroke compared to a 100 or a 50? And he's asking for his 10-year-old son Cash, who loves breaststroke.
Well, I would say a 200 breaststroke pace is different than 100 or 50. I definitely try to glide more and get more out of each stroke in a 200. And yeah, you want to go pace that you can hold for, a longer amount of time, I guess. But yeah, 100 and a 50 is more about just kind of sprinting and getting your kind of tempo going, getting your arms moving more. There we go.
That's a good answer. Yep, there you go. Get that glide, Cash.
Glide, baby. Okay,
Yeah.
I have one more question for you. Just thinking about how versatile you are as an athlete, what does your blend of training look like? Because you're swimming a 50 freestyle at the highest level possible, and then also the Turner breaststroke. And I think that like my brain doesn't really compute that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we do a little bit of everything in practice. Like there's definitely like each practice kind of is a focus on a certain event. And so throughout the week I'll do a 50 free practice, a 2 free practice, a 2 breast practice, 100 breast. But yeah, I definitely think my training focuses more on freestyle and breaststroke. I do a lot of that. So I'll usually do I'll usually do one power freestyle and breaststroke workout a week and one 200 pace for both of them. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just, each day is kind of just different, which I think I like. It's nice.
That's awesome.
So that reminded me of something I wanted to ask earlier. So you did what I think a lot of people consider to be one of the strangest doubles that anybody's ever done at World Championships with the 2 breasts and the 100 free. What was your approach to that? And was like, so when we were looking at the event profiles, like, well, those 2 events are so different, just like energy system wise and technically. So was that like easier than doing 2 100 frees, like with that amount of time, or like how were you thinking about it? And then how was the experience of doing that?
Yeah, I was definitely scared for that double going into the meet. Because yeah, obviously having to do a 200 breaststroke after 100 freestyle, it doesn't sound awesome. But yeah, whenever I have doubles, I kind of focus my warm up on the first event and I kind of put all of my focus onto the first event. And then after that's over, I kind of then switch and try to get ready for whatever the next event is. So yeah, before that, I was kind of just focusing on 100 free in my warm up. And then I don't know, I guess because of my training, I was just confident that I was going to be able to finish a 200 breaststroke. I didn't really know how good it was going to be. And I was definitely scared to like kind of push that first 100 because I wasn't sure how my legs were going to hold up at the end of that after 100 freestyle. But definitely in training, like leading up to that, we tried to do a lot of practices where I would do like an hour of freestyle work and then I would switch to like an hour of breaststroke work to kind of get my body used to doing that. And I think that definitely helped a little bit going into that double.
All right, we have one question left from Social Kick, and this is probably the most important question we're going to ask you all day. This is from SC Swimming. What's up with Todd's mustache?
Great question. I thought it was no shave November kind of thing, and then it kept going, and he never shaved it. Yeah, I would say I'm not a fan. He says he's trying to grow it out to where he can like curl it.
No.
I know, it's like sometimes when I see him, it's like a jump scare. I'm like, oh my God. I would support shaving it.
All right, we'll get a petition started and we'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm sure that petition would have more than your name on it. I think it is a wild mustache. Yeah, sorry, Todd. Yeah,
sorry, Todd. We love you,
a
Todd.
little. Yeah. Love for you, not so much for the mustache. Awesome. Well, Kate, thank you very much. This was great. Really appreciate you taking the time. I will see you in like 10 days in Doha. And looking forward to watching you the rest of the season.
Great.
Good luck, Kate. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Thanks again to Kate Douglas for joining us. Basil, that was great. It's always it's fun to talk to somebody with such a unique event profile. Like there really is not a lot of overlap most of the time between the events that she swims.
Yeah, I do not know anybody like Kate Douglas. I think the only other like freestyle breaststroke crossover, at least in my time, was Jess Hardy.
Yep.
Like that's really the only other person I can compute. And then add in the True I Am and even the 100 fly and the 50 free. Like,
yeah,
she just like the whole entire spectrum. She's got it covered, and a really interesting mindset, at least for me, listening to her talk about her post-grad year. She has school, which I think is like the biggest game changer, because I know when swimmers graduate NCAA and move on to swimming pro, it's kind of like, whoa, like this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with my time? And then swimming becomes only thing. And then it's just a downward spiral from there. So I think it's really awesome that she recognized and was like, I need to have something else on my plate.
Yeah.
That's a huge,
well, and like to have that extra thing outside the pool, but then like she said, she goes into the pool every day, and based on the events that she swims, her training in the pool is different every day too. So there's like more variety there too, as opposed to just like, oh, I'm just a straight 50 freestyler, and to kind of do that. Like she's got opportunities to kind of do different things.
Yeah. And I think that's going to allow her longevity to just go even further.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting for us at USA Swimming. Like we get Kate Douglas for hopefully a long time.
Well, let's hope so, because that talent and that versatility is kind of one of a kind. So
yeah, it's pretty incredible.
So speaking of watching her, she will be competing on our world's team in Doha. And then so we'll have all of our coverage for that at usaswimming.org. And then domestically, our next event is, we're starting to ramp it up, man. We've only got 2 more pro series, and then the Club Excellence Challenge series in May, and then we're on to trials. So coming down to it. But the next one is March 6 to 9 in Westmont. So make sure to tune into usaswimming.org for that as well. And then, of course, if you want to come see everything with us at trials, usaswimming.org/trials. Go get those tickets. Come see me and Basil.
Yeah, we'll be there. Come on, you guys. You get to meet us in person.
I think we may have just reduced ticket sales, but
no, it's gonna
come anyway, despite us being there.
Yeah, come anyway. Just avoid us if you see us. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be honestly like a spectacle of a show.
Yep.
I'm so excited. Like I've only ever known trials in Omaha. Barbini, have you ever been to a trials other than Omaha?
Nope. I've been to 3 and they were all in Omaha. Yep.
Yeah, like so new for everybody, and with it being in an NFL stadium, I mean, I would not miss this.
No. Yeah. So don't.
So go.
Nice. All right. Well, we will talk to you all again next month. Make sure to subscribe to this wherever you get your podcasts. Basil, have a great month, and we'll talk to you in February.
Barbini, enjoy Doha, enjoy all of your travels, and best of luck. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.